I feel like this is something that I don't get to talk about a lot. A lot of my close friends know this, but it's part of my story, and I think there's a lot of power behind this part of my story, and I'm ready to talk about it. I was a cam girl and a sugar baby for a few years. For those who don't know what a cam girl is, I'll provide the definition here. And for those who don't know what a sugar baby is, I'll provide that definition here. So I started out as a cam girl. I first learned about it when I was about 19. I was living at home. I grew up in a pretty abusive household, and so I was trying to figure out ways of making money quickly so I could get out. At the time, I was working as a barista and as a waitress, and so I was trying to save my money. I had saved up money from waitressing and being a barista to get myself a car, and so I then was planning on, once I got the car, to save up to get my own place. At the time, I was in school, and I can't remember how I found out about being a cam girl. I remember there was a documentary at the time that was making its rounds about the sex work industry, about adult performers, and I saw something about that, I remember, but I also maybe stumbled upon it from just like being on porn sites, like just perusing, you know, and found out about it. It was a relatively easy process to sign on. They wanted to verify your age. You had to fill out like a W-9 or something like that. Once they verify your identity, you're good to go. So I started out on a couple different sites. So I was able to quickly rank among the top 5 performers on that particular cam site. Then I started to get more popular. I found out about other cam sites where I could make more money and potentially get more traffic. And so I did that, and I was able to get my own apartment. I had transferred schools at that time and was fully supporting myself. I was still waiting tables. I was doing cam kind of on the side. I would basically, you know, work my waitressing job on weekends, which actually I was waiting tables like an hour away. And so I would wait tables on the weekends, finish whatever homework I didn't get to that Sunday night, and then wake up for my 8 a.m. class on Monday. And then I would have class all day, would get through my homework as quick as I could, and then hop on cam from like 9 or 10 at night until sometimes 3 to 6 in the morning, depending on how busy it was. And it wasn't sustainable. I got burnt out pretty quickly. At that time, I was a biology major, and so managing basically 2 jobs, because camming is a job, like anything else, you know. So I'm managing being a cam girl on top of all this other stuff, and I felt like I had to keep it a secret. So no one knew what I was doing really, except for like some of my close friends. And at that time, I actually started to run a sex blog. So I was kind of just talking about my love life, my sex life, and talking about actually like different parts of sexuality. So it was not just me kind of telling stories about my love life, but also kind of educating people about like BDSM, about fetishes, things like that. And so it got pretty popular actually, where I was getting about 2,000 hits per week on the blog. And I grew that with Twitter, and quickly grew my following on Twitter, promoting my cam shows, promoting my blog. I started to get kind of popular. There was some celebrities that were following me. I'm not gonna say any names, but had some celebrities B-list celebrities, okay? Let's be real. I had some B-list celebrities who followed my cam stuff, and some of them, you know, I would maybe link up with here and there, but that's a story for another time. I was doing this cam stuff in school. I actually eventually quit my waitressing job, not necessarily saying that I was making that much money on cam, because I really wasn't. Like, I was barely making rent really with cam, but I would rather be doing cam working from home than driving an hour to wait tables. I really felt like I was gonna be able to make camming work. I did that throughout the school year. I actually ended up taking a break from school just because I was so overwhelmed and really needed to kind of figure my life out. Prior to me officially deciding to take a break from school, I met this guy, was some Marvel character was his username, but he started getting cam shows from me, and what was different about him was that, like, he would talk to me more than other cam guys. You know, he would be paying to just sit and talk to me, you know? And so that was different. And so I was interested. And so we took our conversations kind of off the cam sites and started just communicating via Skype and text message. We were kind of a little smitten with each other after a while. I can't remember how much time passed, but it was like a good little while before I started to actually, like, you know, trust that he was who he said he was. He would start to send me gifts and things like that. And so we eventually started a relationship. At this time, I'm probably 21, 22. We started kind of seeing each other. He lived in New York. I lived in Virginia. We would sometimes meet halfway in DC. Sometimes he would pay for me to come to New York. I was doing this like every other weekend. Destiny now would not be doing the things Destiny then did. But at that time I was really smitten, and hadn't had anyone kind of looking out for me that way. Like, he made sure that I was able to pay part of my tuition, and he helped me get another car and all these like gifts and things like that. And so he was like totally spoiling me, and I was like way into it. So we dated for about 8 months. I didn't realize how controlling he was being. I didn't realize that it was the makings of an abusive relationship, using financial control to manipulate me, or to say, oh, well, I helped you with XYZ thing, so you need to do XYZ thing. You know what I mean? At that time, I didn't realize how transactional that relationship was. By the end of that 8-month period, I had started to have suspicions that there was someone else. I would find little love notes around his apartment, like randomly tucked in places, like under plates or in a drawer somewhere. And I would ask him about it, and he would say, oh, that was from a previous girlfriend. You know, she used to leave stuff around the house all the time, and I haven't found all of the things that she left. And so I'm looking like, that's a little suspect, but I don't have any other evidence right now to, you know, to prove otherwise. At this time, I was still camming, and he, mind you, this whole time he had been pressuring me to stop camming. He was very controlling, and he was like, I need you to stop camming. Like, I don't like all these guys seeing you like this. I don't like you being out there like this. What's on my edges? He was like, basically saying that I was better than that, even though that's how he met me and that's how I was making additional money. He was like, well, I'm gonna support you, so you can stop camming. Part of me was like, I don't wanna be totally dependent on this person. I would still like to have my, you know, extra stream of income. But I ended up taking down the blog, stopping all my cam stuff, and was relying on him for income. So one of my fans lived in New York. I was just being flirtatious. I'm like, yeah, I'm in New York, we should meet up, whatever. And he's like, oh yeah, let's meet up. Mind you, the conversation was totally like just platonic. Like, we didn't say anything sexual in the conversation. It was more so like, yo, let's meet up, let's catch up or whatever. I was at my ex's house at the time. Let's call him Barbados, because he was from Barbados. So Barbados was going through my phone one day as I'm in the shower, and I come out the shower thinking everything is cool. He's asking me questions about the messages in my phone. I was like, it's a cam fan, like, it's not that deep, you know? He got so upset where he's yelling at me. Starts yelling, I get really upset. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go. Like, I'm gonna pack my stuff. My trip was supposed to end like in a few days anyway. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go. So I started to pack my stuff and he's like, you're not going anywhere. He starts yelling. And I remember I had grabbed my laptop, which he had gifted me, this like brand new like MacBook Air, right? I went to put my laptop in my bag. He takes the laptop and throws it. Mind you, I was still in school at the time, still had all my homework on my laptop. I was like, bro, what are you doing? I have like papers on there, like what? I'm trying to quickly pack up and I'm trying to get my phone. So I grab my phone and it's in this hand. He comes around and grabs my wrist. And we're in the bedroom at this point. So I'm in the bedroom, he grabs my wrist and he pins me on the bed. And he reaches his other hand around and comes around like he's about to choke me. And I didn't have a lot of time to like think about it. This is like purely me like reacting. And so his hand was still here trying to hold my phone. So mind you, he's like choking me. His hand is here. I bit the shit out of him. I bit the fuck out of this man's hand because that's all I could do. Like, he was much bigger than me. I'm trying to throw him off. He won't get off. I'm telling him to get off of me. He's not getting off. And he starts to put like pressure around my neck. And so I bit him and he lets go. I'm able to grab my shit and he's like holding his hand like you bit me. I'm like, yes, I fucking bit you. You tried to choke me. So I'm packing my stuff. And mind you, this is not funny. I think I'm laughing because I'm like nervous about telling the story. I packed my stuff. Mind you, this is like December in New York. And so I didn't have a proper coat. He had bought me this J. Crew coat. It was like a nice warm pea coat. And so as I'm getting ready to leave with all my stuff, I didn't have a bra on. I didn't have socks on. I just grabbed my shit and got the fuck out of the house, right? And as I'm leaving, he was like, well, give me my fucking coat back. And I was like, okay. So I took the coat off, gave it to him, put up my little cheapy coat on that I gotten from Old Navy at the clearance rack, right? Put my little cheapy coat on and I book it out into the streets, and I was gonna head to Union Station to see if I could switch my train ticket around. And I think at the time I only had like $45 to my name, because I remember specifically trying to figure out how much it would cost for me to try to get back home and being worried that it was more than $45. And so I'm walking around New York, freezing, no bra, nothing, Lord. I find a Starbucks and I'm kind of sitting in the Starbucks and I look from my card, my wallet, and it's in his apartment. So I go back to the apartment, and it's one of those nice buildings, nice apartment building. Well, it's a condo. So I went back to his building. He lived in Manhattan, but it's like a super swanky apartment building with like the front desk area and like security and all that. So I go to one of the security guards and I'm like, hey, so me and my boyfriend just had an argument. Do you mind just escorting me back upstairs so I can grab my wallet? I was like, all I wanna do is get my wallet. I just wanna grab it and leave. And so we go upstairs. And it was so awkward because we take the elevator. So I'm just like standing there in the elevator with the security guard, who was actually really nice and very patient. We go back to the room, or to his door. When he opens it, and I remember specifically, he was like, she doesn't live here. You know, like, why are you escorting her? Like, she lives here, she doesn't live here. And I was like, dude, that's irrelevant. I'm just here to get my wallet, you know what I mean? And so I grab my wallet and I go back and I'm trying to make it to Union Station. I was just gonna walk, mind you, it's like freezing outside. I get to Union Station, I'm in the bathroom and I'm just trying to change, I'm crying. I'm like, bruh, what the heck did I get myself into? So he's calling, he's blowing up my phone and he's like, let's talk about this. I'm sorry, I overreacted, whoa. So we ended up meeting up and he apologized and I ended up staying for the rest of the trip, but I didn't feel comfortable I felt like I really stayed honestly because I didn't have any money to get back home and switch my train ticket. So I just stayed. Soon after that, like after I gotten back home from that trip, I found out that he was in fact cheating on me, and that he would fly this woman who lived in like the Czech Republic. He would fly this woman from the Czech Republic to New York right after I would leave him. I found out about this on Facebook of all places. Like she had tagged him in some picture, and I saw that he had been tagged, and I was like, oh, that's odd, who is this girl? And literally the day after I left, they were on some building in New York together. So I called him, cussed him out, and this the anger that I felt, you know what I mean, was like, bro, you attacked me, you did all this shit to make me feel guilty. I wasn't even cheating. I learned a lot through that relationship. I didn't deserve any of that. I know that. I'm grateful that I know now what those red flags look like. I didn't realize at the time that qualified as a sugar baby relationship. I didn't know that's what it was. It's like, hey, you date me and I spoil you with this stuff. I kind of wish that I saw what it was so that I could maybe have negotiated the terms, you know what I mean? I basically ended that relationship. I took a break from school. I started working at like a coffee shop. I was like a manager at some coffee shop for a while. And I eventually started my hairstyling business, Luxy Hair Services. So I do kind of believe in like divine timing and divine order, and that certain things do kind of need to happen along our journey so that we can get to where we're going. I don't believe that I deserved any of what happened to me. I'm not saying that like I had to go through this abusive relationship to be the person that I am now. I just know that it really taught me a lot about myself and about other people and about this industry, about the sex work industry. So now I am, an entrepreneur. I think doing the cam stuff and doing my blog, I learned a little bit about using social media to promote things. And I think that ultimately kind of led to my work as a social media marketer and consultant with my marketing business. But the thing is, being an entrepreneur, the money is all over the place, And so I've gotten back into camming. It's not something that I do all the time. It's just something to make some extra money on the side. But I think now I'm going into it with the mindset of like, this is purely to help me to have some financial buffer for the slow months, all these different things that life throws at us. It's a job like anything else. It's customer service, it's branding, it's consistency, it's learning your worth, learning how to price services, right? And so with camming, it's a performance. I have this persona that I play into. It's a job like anything else. So that's kind of my story time. If you want to be a cam girl, I support you. I think if you go into any other part of the adult industry, protect yourself, educate yourself as much as you can, document everything, get things in writing, just protect yourself. Like at the end of the day, you are responsible for you. You don't owe these people nothing. You are a whole, beautifully made human being who deserves love and respect like anyone else. I think that's it. If I think of anything else to add to this, I'll come back later. I'll provide all my contact information at the end of this video. And thank you for watching. I love you. Take care of yourself.